Grade 8 Math Review, Square Roots, and Perfect Squares. To be a perfect square, a number must have three things. It must have an odd number of factors, like 3, 5, 7, something that's odd. It must have factors that repeat. In other words, there must be two of the same one. And it must have, or be able to make, a perfect square. So when you arrange it, it must make a perfect square like that. So let's take the first example, 4. Well, if we want to write out the factors of 4, I could end up writing down all the numbers that will give us 4. Well, 1 times 4 works, because 1 times any number will give you that number. But 2 times 2 will also work, because 2 times 2 is 4. And of course, I don't write 2 down here twice. So the only things I can get is 1 times 4, and then 2 times 2. Now if I count up how many they have all together, there's 1, 2, there's 3 factors. So it is a odd number of factors. If I were to check it out, are there 2 numbers or factors that repeat? Well, let's see. 2 times 2 will give you 4. Well, we don't write down 2 twice, but we do know that it repeats. And the third one, can you make a perfect square out of it? Well, let's take 4 blocks, or 4 anything really. So if I were to take this right here, and I wanted to make 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I arrange them so that they form a perfect square? So they're arranged, and how many do I have this way? I've got 2 going across, and I've got 2 going down. So that does form a perfect square. So number 4 will meet all 3 of these criteria to make a perfect square. Let's try 6. Well, if I put 6 down and I write down the factors of 6, again, with any number, there's 1 times 6. And then I go 2. Will 2 work? 2 times 3. And 4 times nothing will work. So if I check this out and add them up now, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 factors, so it is a even number of factors. If I go back up here, oh, it doesn't meet the criteria to be a perfect square. Does it have any that repeat? Nope, just 1, 2, 3, and 6. And the last criteria, does it make a perfect square? And if we were to take the same thing we had before, and we need 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no matter what way you rearrange them, there's no way to make a perfect square. It's not going to be the same on all sides. Just checking it out, we've got 3 going across and 2 going down. That is not a square, that is more of a rectangle. So 6 is not a perfect square. So what about 12? Well, if we checked out 12 in the same sort of way, we know the 1 times 12 is the obvious. So we know all the factors are going to be somewhere between 1 and 12. Will 2 work? Yeah, because it's an even number. 2 times 6 works. As well, 3 times 4 works. And now we've got all of the factors that belong. Count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's an even number of factors, so it does not have a perfect square. So we can say that it is not a perfect square. Now let's check out 25, the last one, and I'll do it right here in red. So if we check 25, we know 1 times 25 is the most obvious. 2 is not going to work, 3 is not going to work, 4 is not going to work, 5 will work 5 times, and I'll put a little times 5 so you know that it repeats. and then we go up to 6, 7. There's nothing else. There's our factors. So we've got 1, 2, 3 factors. So it's odd. Does it repeat? Sure. The 5 repeats. So it's odd, it repeats, and does it make a perfect square? Of course, if it repeats, I can make a perfect square of 5 by 5. Just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then when I put in all my ones there, it will, when I put it together, make a perfect square once I squeeze them all together. And it'll make the exact same dimensions. It will end up being 5 this way, 5 down, and 5 across, which is a perfect square. So looking at these ones, are these numbers perfect squares? And how can we tell? Well, let's look at the first one of 15. Let's write down 15 and let's factor it out. 1 times 15, and then 2 doesn't work. 3 times 5 will do it, and that's it. So counting up how many factors it has, there are 4 factors, and if there's 4 factors, that means it's even. So it is not a perfect square number. Checking out this one here, 49. And if we write down 49, we know it's 1 times 49. And then 2 does not work, 3 does not work. We know that 7 certainly does work. And 7 times 7 is 49. So 7 repeats twice, because it's times 7, but we only write it once. So it has repeating factors, 7 times 7. It has 1, 2, 3 factors, so it is odd number of factors. Okay, so you could make a perfect square with 7 going down and 7 going across. And then, of course, all the rest would be the same. And that would make a perfect square.